Hello, everybody. Welcome back. This is week 6 of my trading recordings, February 5th to February 9th. For each day, you can watch the recording of the trades I took and then a recap at the end of each day explaining my thought process and the stats for the day. February 5th. When I opened the chart, it seemed like a downward trending day. I waited to see what would happen. Price started to trend upwards, and I decided to do a long scalp for my first trade. Price hit my take profit for 6 points. Then price started approaching a price I thought was important. I waited. I thought price was going to bounce, but it seemed to continue upwards. For my second trade, I decided to go long. I had a 30-point take profit and 10-point stop loss. Once price was about 15 points in the money, I adjusted my stop loss to match with the higher low. I decided to close the trade a few points under my take profit. I didn't want it to reverse on me. I'm pretty happy about today's performance. February 6th. For my first trade, I saw a little range developing. I did a short scalp and took profits for 5 points. Then I saw higher highs and higher lows. I decided to take a second trade long at a level I thought price would bounce up. Price didn't bounce, and I ended up taking a 15-point loss. For my third trade, it looked like there was upward momentum, so I thought I'd try a long scalp. I entered and then got stopped out for another loss of about 5 points. For my fourth trade, since I was about 5 points from my maximum daily loss, I decided to go long one more time. It seemed there was momentum upwards at the time, but I got stopped out again. This one happened off of the recordings. Once this happened, I hit my daily loss limit and I was done for the day. For the first trade, I went long at what I thought was a previous low. My target was just under the previous high. I set my stop loss about 13 points under my entry, as I thought that was going to be enough breathing room. The trend seemed to be upwards, but I wondered if I was going into a double top. I got stopped out of the first trade for a loss of about 13 points. For my second trade, I waited for price to get to a level I thought was important. I thought price was going to return to the highs of the day, but I entered and I got stopped out for about 15 points. I tried to be more dynamic and allow room for the price action, but at the expense of my daily maximum loss. I've exceeded it by almost 10 points. For my first trade of the day, I decided to enter long because price started to move above the previous high from yesterday. I set up a generous stop loss, but because it was so generous, I would meet my maximum daily loss if the trade gets stopped out. After being about 38 minutes in the trade, with price really struggling to continue upwards, price fell and hit my stop loss. After the trade closed, I decided I was done for the day. When I opened the charts, it seemed price had been trending upwards for a good while. I waited for a bit to pull for a pullback before I entered long. Once it did, I entered long with a 15-point stop loss. As price developed, it continued to rise, then it pulled back a little bit to a level I thought was important. At that point, I added a second contract to the trade. Then I tightened up the stop loss for both contracts and lowered the take profit, as I wasn't confident that price was going to break the previous peak. Price then eventually started dropping and hit my stop loss. I lost about 30 points for the day and I was done trading. Again, I was trying to follow the price action and set targets and stop losses at places that made sense. I also added to what I thought was a winner, but I think I was too hasty in thinking it was a winner. Now it's time for the weekly recap for week 6, February 5th to February 9th. For the week, I had 3 wins and 8 losses. The average win was about 11 points, and the average loss was about 11.75 points. The total for the week is negative 70.25 points, which is pretty abysmal. I think this week was enlightening to me as far as my skills with reading price action go. The previous week, I had traded only by price action and pulled off about 20 points of profit. This week's performance wiped that out and more. For week 7, I'm going to be following a strategy that I've developed that I think matches my personality better. It has much less of a focus on price action and it's more rules based. In terms of risk management, I think it'll help support account growth. In the testing I've done so far, for that strategy, there are more winning days than losing days, and the winning days are bigger than the losing days. Pretty much, I'm looking to implement a strategy that follows the top step combine rules and objectives for trading.